a horror story by Sarah Chen. I need to tell you something about my daughter Emma, and I need you to believe me, even though I barely believe it myself. 3 months ago, I would have laughed at ghost stories. I would have rolled my eyes at paranormal investigators and dismissed Reddit threads about haunted houses as creative fiction. But that was before Emma started talking to the lady in her closet. Before I found the photographs. Before I learned what happened in our house 43 years ago. This is going to sound insane, but every word is true. My name is Sarah Chen. I'm a tax attorney, and I don't believe in ghosts, or at least I didn't. It started the week after we moved into the house on Maple Street. The realtor had called it a charming 1970s colonial with original features, which is code for outdated, but we're charging you anyway. My husband David and I had scraped together every penny for the down payment. It was our first real home, Emma's first bedroom that wasn't an apartment with paper-thin walls. She was so excited about having her own closet. I remember her spinning in circles, arms out, giggling about all the space for her stuffed animals. That first night, she slept straight through. The second night, I heard her talking. At first, I figured it was normal. 4-year-olds have imaginary friends. My brother had one named Mr. Whiskers, who he blamed for everything from spilled juice to drawn-on walls. So when I cracked open Emma's door at 11 p.m. and heard her having a conversation, I smiled, until I heard what she was saying. "Why are you so sad?" Emma asked, her voice small in the darkness. Silence. "Did someone hurt you?" My smile faded. I pushed the door open wider. Emma was sitting up in bed, staring at her closet door. The nightlight cast her shadow long across the wall. "Emma, who are you talking to, sweetheart?" She turned to me, her eyes wide and serious in that way children get when they're being completely honest. "The sad lady in the closet," she said. "She's crying again." I told myself it was the stress of the move. New house, new sounds, new shadows. Emma had always had a vivid imagination. Just last month, she'd been convinced there were dolphins in the bathtub. I checked the closet anyway. Empty except for her clothes and a pile of shoes. I looked under the bed. Nothing. I left the hallway light on and her door cracked open. "There's no one in the closet, baby. You're safe." "I know she won't hurt me," Emma said, lying back down. "She's too sad to hurt anyone. She just wants someone to know she's there." The way she said it made my skin prickle. "What does she look like?" I asked, keeping my voice light. Emma pulled her blanket up to her chin. "She has long brown hair, and she's wearing a pretty blue dress, but it's torn, and she has red marks on her neck." I froze. Red marks on her neck. I kissed Emma goodnight with a smile I didn't feel and stood in the hallway, my heart hammering. I told myself that 4-year-olds say weird things. Emma had probably seen something on TV, but we didn't have cable yet, and Emma only watched PBS Kids. David was already asleep. I climbed into bed beside him and stared at the ceiling, listening to the old house settle around us. The next morning, Emma drew a picture at breakfast. "That's the sad lady," she announced, sliding the paper across the table. She'd used a blue crayon for the dress and a brown one for long hair that fell past the shoulders. At the neck, she'd scribbled heavy red marks. "Emma, where did you get the idea for this?" I asked carefully. "I told you, Mommy. She lives in my closet. She showed me." David glanced at the drawing, then at me. "Vivid imagination," he said. but I saw the flicker of unease in his eyes. That afternoon, while Emma napped, I did what any rational person would do. I Googled our address with the word death. The first result made my blood run cold. Local woman found dead in Maple Street home, 1983. The archived newspaper article was grainy, digitized from microfilm, but the photograph was clear enough. A woman in her early 30s, long brown hair, a soft smile. The caption read, "Jennifer Holloway, 32, found deceased in her home Thursday evening." My hands shook as I scrolled. Jennifer Holloway was discovered by her sister in the upstairs bedroom of her Maple Street residence. Police have ruled the death a suicide by hanging. Holloway had reportedly struggled with depression following a difficult divorce. She leaves behind no children. Services will be held at Riverside Memorial. I slammed the laptop shut. Then I opened it again and looked at the photograph. Really looked at it. Jennifer Holloway was wearing a blue dress. That night, I heard Emma talking again. "It's okay," she was saying softly. "My mommy says talking about feelings helps." I stood outside her door, holding my breath. "You miss him? Who do you miss?" Pause. "Your baby? Where's your baby?" My heart lurched. The article said she had no children. I pushed open the door. Emma was sitting cross-legged on her bed, facing the closet. The door was open now. I knew I'd closed it before tucking her in. "Emma, it's late. You need to sleep." "But Jennifer is sad about her baby. She says nobody believed her. She says that's why she..." "Emma." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "Enough. This game isn't funny anymore." My daughter's eyes filled with tears. "It's not a game, Mommy. She's real. And she's so sad." I pulled Emma into my arms, feeling her small body shake. "I know, baby. I know, but you need to sleep now, okay?" As I tucked her back in, I glanced at the closet. For just a moment, I swear this is true. I saw a shadow that didn't match anything in the room. A shadow shaped like a woman. I closed the closet door firmly and turned the lock. The next day, I went to the library. The librarian, Mrs. Patterson, had lived in town for 60 years. If anyone knew the real story, it would be her. "Oh, the Holloway case," she said, her voice dropping. "Terrible business, but the newspaper didn't tell the whole story." She led me to the local history section and pulled out a box of old records. Jennifer was pregnant when she married Robert Holloway, 7 months along, but she lost the baby, a little girl, 2 weeks after the wedding, stillborn. Mrs. Patterson's eyes were sad. She spiraled after that. Robert divorced her within the year, claiming she was unstable. Some folks whispered that he'd been abusive, but nothing was ever proven. My throat tightened. The baby. Buried at Riverside, Jennifer visited the grave every single day for 3 years, until she didn't need to finish. "Where's the nursery?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "In the house. Where was the nursery going to be?" Mrs. Patterson checked the property records. "Second bedroom upstairs, the one with the eastern exposure." Emma's room. That night, I didn't stop Emma from talking to the closet. Instead, I sat on the floor beside her bed and listened. "She wants us to know she's not bad," Emma whispered. "She wants us to know she loved her baby. She didn't want to leave, but everything hurt too much." Tears streamed down my face. Tell her. Tell her I understand." Emma tilted her head, listening to something I couldn't hear. Then she smiled. She says thank you. She says nobody's listened in a long time. "Ask her what she needs," I said. "Ask her what would help." Emma was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was gentle. "She says she wants to be with her baby. She says she can't find her." The next morning, David thought I'd lost my mind. "You want to take our 4-year-old to a cemetery to look for a grave from 1983? "Yes," I said. "I know how it sounds. But David, something is happening in Emma's room. Something real, and I think I can help." David studied my face for a long moment. "You really believe this?" "I don't know what I believe, but Emma knows things she couldn't possibly know. And if there's even a chance," I trailed off. "We have to try." He sighed. "1 hour, that's all I'm giving this." Riverside Cemetery sprawled across 15 acres of rolling hills. We walked through rows of weathered headstones, Emma skipping ahead with the innocence only a 4-year-old could maintain in a graveyard. "She says we're close," Emma called back. "She says it's under the big tree." At the far edge of the cemetery, beneath an ancient oak, we found it. 2 graves side by side. One was well maintained, with fresh flowers. Jennifer Marie Holloway, 1951 to 1983. Finally at peace. The flowers were new. Someone still remembered her. But it was the smaller grave beside it that made my breath catch. Baby girl Holloway, born sleeping, March 15th, 1980. Too beautiful for Earth. Emma walked straight to the smaller headstone and placed her hand on it. "She couldn't find her because they're not together," she said simply. "She looks in the closet because that's where she put all the baby clothes. She's been looking for so long." David's face had gone pale. "Sarah, how would she know about the clothes?" "I wouldn't," I whispered, "but Jennifer would." That evening, I did something I never thought I'd do. I stood in Emma's room, facing the closet door, and I spoke to the empty air. "Jennifer, I know you're here. I know about your daughter. I know what happened to you." My voice cracked. "I know nobody believed you about Robert. I know they called you unstable when you were just grieving. I know you were alone." The air in the room grew cold. "But your baby isn't in this closet. She's waiting for you at Riverside, under the oak tree. She's been there all along, Jennifer. You just couldn't see it because—" I took a shaky breath. "Because you couldn't let go of the pain." Emma sat on her bed, watching me with solemn eyes. "It's time," I said softly. "It's time to stop looking in the dark. It's time to go to her." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the closet door, the one I'd locked, slowly swung open. Inside, I saw something impossible. The closet wasn't empty anymore. Hanging on the rod were tiny clothes. Onesies, booties, a christening gown yellowed with age. Things that hadn't been there an hour ago. Things that couldn't be there. And standing among them was a shadow. A woman-shaped absence of light. Emma slid off the bed and walked to the closet. She reached out her small hand into that darkness. "It's okay," she said. "Your baby is waiting. She's been waiting so long. Don't you want to hold her?" I held my breath. The shadow shifted, moved, and for just a moment, just one impossible moment, I saw her, Jennifer Holloway in her torn blue dress, tears streaming down her face, red marks vivid on her neck. She looked at Emma, then at me. Her lips moved. No sound came out, but I understood. "Thank you." Then she was gone. The closet was empty again, just clothes and shoes. The temperature returned to normal, and the heaviness that had pressed on the room since we'd moved in, the weight I hadn't even realized was there, lifted. Emma yawned. "She found her baby," she said sleepily. "She's happy now." That was 3 months ago. Emma hasn't mentioned the sad lady since. She sleeps through the night. Sometimes I hear her talking in her room, but it's always to her stuffed animals now, imaginary tea parties and adventure stories. The closet door stays open. There's nothing to hide from anymore. Last week, I went back to Riverside Cemetery. The flowers on Jennifer's grave were fresh again. Daisies, the same kind that grew on the baby's grave. No one in town tends those graves. The caretaker confirmed it. But every Sunday, there are new flowers on both graves. Thanks for watching. I hope you consider subscribing for weekly videos.